Yeah, I love that you brought up Visions because it's one of the things that well, let's get into like our top three favorite things. So I think,
Yes.
How do I phrase this? Because I actually think Visions is my favorite thing that Star Wars Disney has done. Have I loved
That's
every
great.
single episode?
I love Visions.
No.
Same.
I haven't necessarily loved every episode, but I felt like that is one thing that George Lucas never would have done. And I know he respects all those things, but I think that was something that happened only because it was now like a bigger organization and we can try new things.
Yeah.
And so I felt like Visions was, because I know there's people out there that don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's fine because it feels different and it is different. And so it's a little bit, to me, of that little middle finger up to, no, this is what we're going to do because we think it's rad. So like, yeah, even like the sequels to, we mentioned something earlier. Like I wasn't shocked that we didn't get what we expected because I'm an OT kid and I saw the prequels. It was like not at all what we thought we were going to get. So I was expecting, I wish it was more different. Personally, I wish it was more a whole different thing. Like in a dream world, in a perfect dream world, George would have made 7, 8, 9 and then sold it and said, nope, this is how I'm going to go out because I know
his micro.
I want to
biotic.
I want to end this the way. I want to end this the way I want to end it, and then you can have it. And that didn't happen. That's fine. But Visions, I think, was just very different, and I do not care about what's canon and what's legends. Like I don't care. I am not that Star Wars person. I just want a good Star Wars. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just don't care. I love that some people are really into that stuff. That to me, like I like a lot of the books, but I'm not a Star Wars novel person for the most part, because Star Wars novels deliver a Star Wars that I'm less interested in.
Yes.
Star Wars novels get into the nitty gritty. It leans more sci-fi than what I like the movies to do. I like the bare bones. I like Star Wars being served as a skeleton, and we get to put the meat on to go back to that's what I think Star Wars is. So I think I'm so happy that those books and the video games and all those things are there for the people that are really into that. But I'm not interested personally. Like, because I just don't want my Star Wars like that. I like sci-fi. I can get knee deep in all the stuff. Like you give me like the alien stuff and I want to know all about all of those deep things. Like I like that in that world, but in Star Wars, it's too personal for me. I'm not interested in that for that reason. And that's what I think I liked about Visions, because Visions was just about the spirit of what Star Wars was to all those different people. And it didn't have to play into anything. And there was so much freedom in that I had so much mad respect for even the ones that weren't for me. I was like, oh my God, I got to see a Star Wars version for somebody else. It was the greatest thing. And so I hope we get more of those things. So I hope this new little thing does well enough that we get others.
Yeah.
So, all right, what is like one of your favorite things that we've gotten so far?
Agreed. By the way, I just thought everything you said of Visions, big Visions fan. I think it's all three have delivered ones that I really love. And there's favorites that I have from each volume. The ones that, volumes 1 and 3 are all Japanese, but the international one, the second season, had so many great things. The Spy Dancer, the French one, that's like World War II cabaret, one of my favorites. F is one of my favorite characters in the Disney era from Village Bride and those, so that's been great. So if we're talking about all 10 years, the whole Kennedy era, my first thing is the first thing. Because it's not Force Awakens that started the Kennedy era. It's Rebels. Rebels is,
so many of us forget.
Yeah, Rebels is the pinnacle for me and Rebels might be my favorite Star Wars. If I ranked it all, I ranked the movies on their own just for the sake of ease.
Yep.
But if I had to put it all together, if it was gun to my head, it's like you can't see it all on camera because I've got a sweater on, but I have a Sabine tattoo on my arm. Like this show has been there for me in personal strife and great times and sad times. I think the characters are incredible. I think Clone Wars is really special and it'll always be special. And it was the show that wouldn't die. It had 3 endings. It had, the lost missions on Netflix, and then it finally gets to come back. Like that was a special thing. And it will always be the training ground. It'll always be George and Dave. and everybody else, but like that passing of the torch. But it always had the one foot in and one foot out of like, yes, Ahsoka was original, but we're also playing with icons. And then Rebels was, hey, George is gone. Like he's a phone call away, but he's gone. He's clocked out. He cashed out. He's a shareholder now. It's time to fly. And I think that was Dave and his team, Henry Gilroy, no relation, was his name, Kimberg, who's still there working on things, and Miknovitz and Athena Portillo and just everybody that's been there at Lucasfilm Animation and at ILM and all these these staples of the company that worked on Rebels, and then that incredible cast of just the best, and T.S.R. Carr and Vanessa Marshall and like all these incredible people created something that was intertwining with what mattered. And like we said, that you do get the iconic characters in there when needed, but it was a risk. And I remember walking through the Disney store in like whenever they started promoting that, so it had to be either like late 2013 or maybe early 14, and seeing that first like in the glass window of Disney Store art of Ezra that said like premiering this day Disney XD with his slingshot, and I looked at it and I was like, no, what is that? He's got blue hair and a slingshot. What is this? I thought they were making cool stuff. Like I got really shitty about it really quick. I was very like, and and then I watched it and I was like, this is great. Like immediately locked in on that show.
I am with you. And this is one of the things that I love about Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I always feel like, like, oh my God, I love Star Wars so much. I love Star Wars. Star Wars has served so many different things. You get to know about someone so much just based on their favorite version of Star Wars. And someone's favorite Star Wars dictates how they view all of the Star Wars, which is just, it's the greatest thing, right? But like, okay, yes, 100%. The slingshot, a little cringe.
Yeah.
Like, let's shoot Pac-Man pellets out of our lightsaber, a little cringe. But that's also what is so incredibly charming, because let's also, I mean, Return of the Jedi, my fave, right?
Yes.
Because we also have baby Wicket swinging around his rocks and knocking himself out, and also taking out stormtroopers with rocks. It's cringe. It is so campy. Also, it's so much fun, because
you have to be open
Star
to
Wars
character.
Is not about reality. Yes.
You have to be open to character. Ezra is a little cringe. He's 14. Yes. He's a boy.
Yeah. Oh, like, I get so mad. This is like Star Wars like nerd crash out, right? We all have our right, whatever. Like, you should be crashing out about this. This is stupid. But when I'm like, okay, yes, Sabine got stabbed through the gut with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
When has Star Wars ever been about reality? Because yes, the Wicket, the Ewoks were knocking out stormtroopers with rocks. It isn't about the rocks. It's actually the metaphor of the little man can take down the big man with no matter what your tools are. Yes. It is not. Sabine survived the stab wound because it wasn't about a stab wound. Like it's not. That's what you know what? That's what the novels are for. In the novels, yes, that needs to make sense. 100%. In the novels,
they would have been like,
but that's why I don't want to read the novels.
Applied the Bacta, to her wound. And
and
like that's great.
Exactly,
like, that's fine. But like, you're right. Like,
I
Star
love
Wars
that for you.
It's never been about how. It's always about why. And when people brought up like, oh, but how come Qui-Gon died? Because Qui-Gon
needed to die,
and
because I mean, it's like Obi-Wan needed to lose his mentor so he could learn to carry the thing. All of it.
I always go back to something Pablo Hidalgo said forever ago when someone asked him a valid question, a question we've all asked, which is, how long exactly was Luke training on Dagobah? Because it's a funky fantasy movie, and it is, if you are, let's say you're a child and you're seeing Empire for the first time, it can confuse you, because Han, Luke, and Leia, like, they're all split, and like the Falcon crew, they're going to Bespin at sublight speed, and that's a point, right? Like, we need to get somewhere that we can get to at sublight. But then it really does feel like a Rocky movie is happening on the side of like a rigorous and like how you square those two is really up to you. And so Pablo was like, it moves at the speed of plot. That's how long. How long it takes is how long it needs to.
Okay, a lot of our listeners just assuming you're all here eagerly waiting for our little show to come back, like your life has been needing this for the last 2 years, right? Like a lot of our listeners were younger, right? Mm-hmm. Also shocked me. So thank you for young people listening to your gay dad over here, and love it. There was a time before the internet and you didn't have answers to things. Mm-hmm. And we've already talked about at the beginning, we need to nerd out and have a fight about stupid nerd things that don't matter. And we might actually get really mad for a hot minute, and that's fine. One of those fights is how long was he on Dagobah? Was it a few weeks? Was it a year? Was it a few months? We never knew. And you know what I don't ever want to know? Mm-hmm. How long he was on Dagobah. Yeah. Because who cares?
And it's also magic.
He trained.
It's magic.
Yes.
It could be,
yes, but but that's the Star Wars I want. Again, in a novel, you know what it would have done? It would have told you how long he was there.
Or it would have people that read the novels in a cool, nerdy way, like, well, on Dagobah, it's the time is dilated, exactly. So one week of normal time is actually a year of Dagobah time. Like, you know, whatever.
Yes.
Like, and that's why one thing
and
I like.
love that for those people.
One thing I like, and it's a credit to everybody that worked on all 9 of the main movies. I can only speak to the main movies because Solo and Rogue One and Clone Wars movie don't have scenes like this. But all 9 main movies, and I love this because it annoys all the right people, add something to Force lore that cannot be explained. And we've been doing this since the beginning, because in 77, the Force is exclusively a belief-based power that allows, just based on Star Wars, it allows in some way focus, we know, because that's how he, lines up the shot. Somehow people can speak to you from beyond the dead. That's basically your representation of it.
Yeah. Yeah. A ghost tells you that you can shoot that thing that's no bigger than a womp rat back at a home.
Exactly. And to some degree, being able to see with your mind, but even that is not really defined. Mm-hmm. Pulling and pushing is not even until the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and disappearing when you die. Mm-hmm. Oh, it doesn't even happen until Empire. Then Jedi throws lightning in. Crazy. And then Phantom Menace comes around and introduces, not only does it introduce something with like speed, it also takes away. Because then Qui-Gon dies and doesn't disappear. So then that confused people. And then Clones introduces the idea that Anakin can have visions when he's asleep, that he's dreaming about the future. Then Sith is, of course, Darth Plagueis and like everything else.
No, don't forget, you can now suck up lightning.
You can now absorb. That's true.
You can suck it up.
You can suck it up with a blade and with your hand. Then Revenge of the Sith is, cheat death and blah, blah, blah. Midichlorians created life, all that stuff that we know about Sith. Then 7 comes around and kind of had been done in other things, but it's the first time in movies you have Rey using psychometry, touching an object, feeling the history. 8 uses force projection, and then 9 was physical objects moving through space. And not once did Star Wars ever stop to be like, well, this is how it's not about that. And and in the Dave era, it never will be. And thank goodness.
Rey learned all of those things because there was no Jedi around. And someone had to be able to do something.
Yes.
So you know what? The Force made it happen right quick.
That's
what happened. Why is it that complicated?
Yes. I get really nerdy about that in what I think is a fun way. Not everyone agrees. But I get really nerdy about that, where I think, and this is just like my like philosophical like reading of it. It's not an original thought. Other people think this too. I don't want to say my reading, but my personal reading that I hold is that the Force is somewhat sentient in that, we know it's the living force and the cosmic force, but I think much like how the One Ring in Lord of the Rings does have an agenda and wants things evilly in a dark way, the Force does want to be in balance. The Force is nudging toward light. And you're right. I think that like, and ironically, the only times in Star Wars when the characters really touch into the themes, the few times that the villains are correct, is when they are sussing out that they are being reacted to. Like they can identify when there is pushback. Like Snoke says a lot of lies and a lot of manipulations. The one time that he ever tells the truth is when he says, darkness rises and light to meet it. I warned you, as your power grew, so was your equal in the light. Snoke could tell we've been effing around, and now it's find out. Like it is coming back. And that's why they wanted to snuff out Skywalker. Blah, blah, blah. But I love that Star Wars like makes the argument that I think people that are like newer to it, or maybe just there is that sect of very like broy guy that just doesn't really understand it. Like, there's a misunderstanding that it's this battle between light and dark. It's not a battle between light and dark. Light is natural. It's really more so the story of light having to get fleas off. That's what it is. Like,
my interpretation
yeah,
of balance
yeah,
is being good.
yeah.
So the light side of the Force.
Yeah.
Which that was even new. Because in Return of the Jedi, there was no light side of the Force. It was the good side.
Mm-hmm.
There was the dark side, and there was the good side.
The good.
And I miss the good side, because to me, that informed me of what balance was by the time we got to talking about balance in the prequels. Was actually, in this world, it's just doing good. There is no dark side. Balance isn't the gray. It isn't equal balance of both. That in my interpretation, it's just doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a balanced person when you know that you are doing the right thing. You fought off the temptations.
Yes.
And you're now choosing to do the good things. That's how we feel.
And it's
balanced.
Not
it isn't. We don't feel as a balanced person of going, I'm going to equal part this. I'm going to do some wrong over here. I'm going to steal I'm not Robin Hood. I'm not stealing from the rich to give to the good. I don't care who you are. Stealing from the rich is still bad. For me.
And it's not a matter of like, be perfect all the time. Like how we tell kids, like, do your best, but like we don't add that like their best will change contextually and circumstantially.
100%. Like, but Star Wars gets that.
And Star Wars does get that.
Star Wars gets you're going to be tempted.
Star Wars is saying
that's what the redemption is about.
Be
to me.
Good. Like Star Wars is saying at the end of the day, come down on good. Star Wars is not saying you won't falter. And also Star Wars, we talk about contradictions and how it's like this cool, epic, badass, beautiful. Because like, here's the thing about Star Wars too, that pink milk, I'm glad like never shied away from and never will. It would not, certainly not with you still running the asylum. It's like Star Wars is also unabashedly cool and very hot. Like one thing about the Disney era, not for nothing. And I'm speaking as a straight dude here, so feel free to jump in and add to this. Like, their casting has been immaculately beautiful. These are some beautiful people that have been throughout this era.
I didn't even think about this, so thank you. So I'm going to allow myself,
please,
an extra one that I'm not going to give you because I'm not a very nice host.
Please.
One of the things, thank you, Disney, because George never would have done this. George would have made hot ladies. But thank you, Disney, for giving us dude candy, not just girl candy. And actually, there's been more dude candy than girl candy.
But a lot of dude candy
in Disney Star Wars.
I don't want to discount. So I want to save you from some comments.
So thank you.
I know people are going to jump in and be like, Bryan, what about Harrison? Bryan, what about Ewan? Bryan, what about... I know you know that. But you are right that it's... way more now. You multiple guys per storyline now. It is way more. Harrison was holding it down for a whole generation by himself almost.
Look, Harrison Ford was hot. George Lucas did not make him hot.
Hayden, I think, was maybe the one.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
He did give us sexy robe moment. To go back to our old openings where we got to end on sexy robe moment going into the thing, right? Okay, yes, thank you, Disney. Okay, so number 2, my number 1 really is Visions.
Yes.
However, it's so weird. Like, this is so internet-y talking. Maybe it's people, I don't know. Like, we have to categorize things. We're a hunter-gatherer people, so like we have to categorize everything. Like, Mando, actually, I'm not going to do this. I'm not even going to do that because I don't feel the need to do that. Mandalorian is like my favorite thing because I so fundamentally love Din and Grogu.
Yes.
I don't love them separate. I don't actually even... They're like C-3PO and R2-D2 to me. Like, they're not two... They are two individual people, but they are one character. And I think Din and Grogu are one character. Now, at some point, this one character is going to have to split up, and it's going to be incredibly sad, and it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
We're already hinting at it. In the trailer right there, he's like, he's going to outlive me, right? Which is every dad. Yoda says it to Luke, and Luke's like, oh my gosh, you're right. I got to figure myself out because, yes, I messed up. But my students, that doesn't mean my students are going to mess up, which is, I love that line. right? Mando was the gift that I did not think was coming. I love Boba Fett because Boba Fett's just rad, but I've never been the Mando dude. Like that's never like I'm not like war. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not my vibe. So when Mandalorian was the first show that came out, I was like, oh god, the first thing we're gonna get is because Boba Fett is cool. I'm gonna have to deal with more Mandalorians, and I love the Clone Wars, but I was like, okay, it was kind of my least favorite part of Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And then what I was served, I get very emotional thinking about these things. Also, welcome back to Pink Milk, everyone. Like, because I love Star Wars on such a level, and I feel like it is the gift. It is the thing that informed me. Mm-hmm. No, it is not my religion. I don't want to even sound like that because that sounds so stupid, but it is my guiding force. And I don't even mean force with a big F. I don't mean that pun, but you're welcome. Like, it was a gift that Mandalorian came into my life after I was a dad.
Yeah.
I fundamentally believe that Din Djarin is a gay dude. I will always stand by that. Is he going to be gay in canon with a big C? No. But everything about that character, he is a queer character. That is a queer story. I will die on that dark saber. Like that is like, it is a queer story, but here was a gay dude who didn't think he deserved anything. So like so many queer people feel, met this kid, and it was this promise that he never thought he was going to be able to do. And then we go to find out like his whole group of people are foundlings, but for some reason he didn't think he was ever going to get that. That was the energy that he had, and that kid brought him back to life. And I related to that so much. I mean, luckily, I'm not saying like I had no way to live without my children. I had a wonderful husband, but like that life that I always wanted for myself was dead because I was not allowed to have kids. And so I was very thankful to have my husband. And for like at my age, how old I was, my life as a gay person was just going to be going to on cruises and the next circuit party and having my shirt off all the time and sending thirst traps when I'm 55 because I still look hot because I don't have kids and I can do all those things. And I love that life for a lot of people. Like but that was not the life I wanted. I wanted my moment to outgrow my family, and I wanted to have a family that had dinner every single night. I wanted to have my kids know that their parents love them and do all those things. I was never going to get that.
Yeah.
Right. And I was still very happy with my husband. Tom, love you very much. But then I got this gift, and now I am just a very different person. It was literally another life. Like Tom and I talk about that all the time. It was just a different life. It's just, if you're a parent, you understand that probably. And then make that a gay person who it wasn't like we got pregnant and we tried for this. It was just like we weren't allowed. And then one day we were. And then it happened. It was very weird. And so I relate so much to those characters because I intrinsically see myself as a parent, and then but also Star Wars that I thought was never going to come back after the prequels. And so it was like these two, like all of these things that mean so much to me came at the same time. And I love these characters so much. I think they are so good. I think as a show, there's been some fumbles and all those kinds of things, but those characters are on the level of an Anakin, of a Luke Skywalker. Like they are forever. And it was so good. And the Mandalorian, I think, especially season 1 and season 2, like understood how to give you just enough and not everything. And even the Clone Wars that got deeper, even the Clone Wars still never gave you all of it.
Yeah.
What the hell is Mortis? We still don't know.
No.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And thank God it doesn't make sense. But yeah, so the Mando and my Din and Grogu are like, they're there. They're like, it was a gift I never thought I was going to get, especially when I saw the first picture of a Boba Fett knockoff. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm so... I didn't list this. I wanted the 3 things that I brought up to be like a little bit varied or just like different. So like,
yeah,
I didn't put the movies. I didn't put, like whatever. Like I didn't put like the Jedi games. Like other people are more qualified to talk about that. And then in terms of like the movies, it's like, I feel like, and I have such deep love for the Skywalker saga, but as you know how it is, like as a Star Wars podcaster, it's like, throw a rock. It's like there's probably a million hours of the two of us talking about the Skywalker saga online. So I just wanted to throw it to like other things, and I knew you were probably going to bring up Din and Grogu. Din and Grogu, I'm right there with you. Are like just incredible, life-changing. I've loved talking to you about them over the years and
Mm-hmm.
what they've meant, especially with your journey with your kids and just how the different moments of Din finding connection have meant so much to all of us. Like, he is this
Mm-hmm.
guy who is always so convinced that good things must be coming from outside of him because he is so naturally he's naturally humble, but he's also like he comes from tragedy. We see like his birth parents are gunned down by these battle droids. He's in a so it's like a storm shelter while they're dying outside. Like he's, he comes from getting everything taken from you, then gets taken in and is told we hide for our safety. And there's a religiosity, of course, to like the fact that you never see his. Well, now you will, and that's going to be part of the story, as Pedro has teased. But like, there's always been a religiosity to like why he and the armorer and Paz and all these people
Oh my
don't
God,
show
I
themselves.
cannot wait for my queer person to break free from the church and go, I actually don't have to hide my face
It's
to get into wherever you want me to go.
right,
I'm so excited.
right at the
See, it's
right.
a gay story. It's a gay story.
Well, right when Bo-Katan became their leader, and the armor was like, she walks both ways. I'm like, yeah, like she's about to revolutionize your whole culture, lady. Like you're about to see a whole other way forward, which also Bo needs so desperately.
Bomar. How do we ship Bo-Katan and the Armorer together?
I don't know. Well, she doesn't have a name, yeah. So I guess you have to use
Someone
the word
smarter
armor
than
for
me,
that.
do that, please.
But
where are my fanfic writers? Give us a name.
Yeah, but I just feel like Din, he's this guy that like the example I always go to, I mentioned them earlier of like, the Tuskens and the Ugnaughts, but like it's always for me, my favorite scene in the third season is Grogu breaking up the fight between Axe and Paz, and all the adults are ready to let it happen because of antiquated beliefs of like we can't break up a fight. They're having a ritual combat. We can't break up a fight, and Grogu breaks it up immediately, and everyone's like shocked by that. They're like, "Whoa!" And then like Bo-Katan's like, "Well, you taught your apprentice, like taught him well," and Din goes, "Well, that didn't come from me." He immediately brushes that off as must be just Grogu being a good boy, must be Luke, must be, but it did come from him. And that's the thing I love about Din is that he won't take credit for things that are so clearly him. He is the great connector.
Well,
he is like
that's because
he can't internalize. He can't say I did good.
yeah.
And I hope that by the end of the movie he gets there. I think that's the next plateau for him. I think that's the next journey is like saying I did
100%.
this. Because now his kid has to grow, right? Like now he's sending Grogu to elementary. Now he's because Grogu's going to separate from him in the trailer. We've seen he's with the Anzellans. He's in the swamp. He's like, and I think this is Din sitting in the Razor Crest crying because Grogu got on the bus. It's the next thing,
Like, Din can't see past anything because of the shame he carries. And shame, like, it's just such lots of people have shame. 100, like, we all bear those things. But, like, as queer people, it's like an entire community carries the shame together. And that, to me, is what the Children of the Watch were. They all carry this shame together that they don't need to. And then some people lean into that because if that's all you're going to see me as, then I'm going to figure out how to own it because that way I can live with it and not want to unalive myself. And it doesn't necessarily feel good, but that was like so much of my life. And that was so much life of a lot of gay people, especially like, thank God for the people who came before me to make it so much easier. But like, I remember that was an interesting internet moment for me as someone who wasn't on the internet. And it was also my first, I think, moment as like an older gay person and having like these two worlds coming together where certain younger queer people were like on me for certain things. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea the privilege that you have right now to say this to me. And it was because of people, my generation gave you that privilege, and how dare you? And at the same time, holding space for them to, I also understand you're like 18, 19, 20 years old. So I was probably that way when I was 18, 19, 20 years old as well, because that's where we are at life, right? But learning to let go of that shame will be a part of his story, I think. And that is what the helmet represents for Din is shame.
And I think
and
that
he will
also,
eventually take it off. And thank God he is already self-aware enough. I won't do that to my son. He's not going to go in this helmet.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy yet.
And the thing
but
too,
he
like
is.
that,
and as a gay dad, like my kids have helped me with shame so much, like because I'm like, you will not be ashamed of where you came from and how you got to this family.
Yeah, and I've heard you in the past talk too, like about the way that Grogu, like, God, it is so weird, like how it parallels. Like I every time we talk about it always gets me. And Rey as well, with her adoption journey, but like the Grogu stuff in particular, because Grogu he's such a genius of character creation that, like, because he is mostly nonverbal outside of like coos and giggles and like what he's able to communicate with his actions, he can be any child. And so for you, like, I'm always
100%.
I'm always amazed by like how you must get like a triple Grogu experience where there are probably moments where he reflects each of your kids differently.
Another thing, like, please, Star Wars, don't ever make him talk.
Yeah.
I know there's a large voice on the internet of, come on, we're getting bored already. No, actually, because you just hit the nail on the head. If he talks, then people, and it is, I shouldn't, like, that's not, but like, I don't know, like, I can only relate to him as a parent. Now, I have no other way to relate to Grogu other than being my own kid, right? So, yes, if he talked, it's going to ruin that moment of seeing those three different versions of him. Because now, he sounds like Eli, or he sounds like Michael, or he's Jack, right? Like, yep, that's my oldest. He's the big brother who has all this great wisdom, right? And I don't want that. I don't think anyone wants that. It will ruin. It would be like Chewbacca talking. Unfortunately, right now in Star Wars Disney, Chewie would probably speak basic, and
it's a thing that you could never. That is what Dave is speaking to, right? Like creating undue burdens and creating undue pressure. Like that's a thing where it's like, let's say you pulled that trigger. You could not put 100 people in a room together and come up with a voice that satisfies even that, let alone millions and millions and millions and millions of people. So it's like, that feels impossible. But to your point about masks, like the thing that I love about Where We Leave Him, and where I disagree with a lot of our fellow fans, and I'm sure you've heard this too, is people say, like, there are people that are hating on the movie because they want to be haters, fine. There are people that are hating on the movie because they think that if it's not as serious as Andor, then it's not valid, whatever. Go with God. That's your journey. But like the I love a sassy go with God.
Also,
what?
Please, Star Wars, don't ever put God back in Star Wars, because when she said Godspeed or whatever, pulled me out of that movie so fast.
I never thought about
that.
I never thought about that.
Oh my God.
You said that just now.
I hate it.
Really?
Oh my God, I hate it so much.
Does it bother you?
I don't use that word very often, but I hate it.
Does it bother you when,
like, I hate it?
And I'm not saying this to gotcha you, but I'm just curious if it's the same. Does it bother you when Han says hell in Empire?
Yes.
So it's the same thing. Okay. Because that's what made me kind of accept it, was being like, well, I guess I accepted that there's a hell.
I hate it there too, because it's too real world. It's too real world.
That's how I feel.
So anyways, I'm sorry. Completely.
Oh no, it's fine. For me, that's Finn saying boyfriend. Boyfriend throws me out of that movie.
100.
I'm like, huh? They have boyfriends like that.
100%.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yep.
What I love about Where We Leave Them, and I think a lot of people, the good faith thing that I do hear, and I get it, is, well, didn't it feel like the story was over at the end of season 3? Like they do the Warner Brothers style, fade out to circle around Grogu, feed up, new house, new job. Like, and I get those people. And you know what? If they never buy a ticket to this and they never see it, which, by the way, they're all going. Everyone's saying they're not going, they're going. But like
just like
they're going.
Just like you all went right back to Disney when like regardless of what's his name got his job back, you're going to go back to Disney Plus when your show came out.
Because don't even
pirating things.
Don't even get me started, Brian.
Pirating things is too difficult.
Don't even get me started.
So get off your high horse and just be honest and say, you know what?
I've said it before. If Jimmy Kimmel was the thing that got you finally radicalized for the revolution, then you were not actually radicalized for the revolution. But the thing that I love about where we left them is that like yes, you will get what you loved about them in the 3 seasons, but it is a different purpose in that they are fundamentally now aligned with good, what we consider to be good, the New Republic. He wants to focus his skills. He has officially adopted Grogu, which he had not in the 3 seasons. That is his literal son now, codified within their law, within their faith, whatever their song is. Grogu has his own journeys to do. Like, there's all that's different. But what I like is that Din, to me, if you had to pluck a like other big iconic character to compare him to in terms of that side, there's a lot that and he's on the mind because he's also on Disney Plus right now, is Daredevil. In that Daredevil is constantly trying to reconcile the fact that he's a Catholic with the fact that he beats people's ass and has a lot of sexual relationships. Absolutely out of wedlock, always tortured, all this guilt. And with Din, he has to accept that what saved him, and it did, and what has, like, because the thing about the Children of the Watch is that, like, they're this weird splinter that is the way they are because they've had to survive, and they're not wrong. They did survive a genocide, and like it's awful, and we saw that the planet got glassed, like we know, but they're not liars. They're fundamentalists, but they're not liars. When they say we're about the children and we protect people and we'll always be there, they are. They do show up for Ragnar Vizsla. They fight the pirates. They save the day. Like, and for Din, I get why he's like, I can't leave because then does that make me not about? I think for him, he has to, like what you're saying about the mask. Like, what I hope for him is what I hope for all people that have something that they believed and then have a next generation, which is synthesizing what was with what is. And whether that's following Bo or not and like following her example, I hope he gets to a place where he's like, I want my son to see that this mattered to me, but that nothing matters more than he matters to me. And what I hope is that maybe he does start this movie like, yeah, I'm redeemed. I got my helmet. I got my son. He's my apprentice now. And then maybe this hut situation or whatever, as we see, his mask does get yanked off. Maybe this is the adventure that'll make him say, like, yeah, my faith does matter to me, but I would rather never put it back on than let you mother effers have him. Like that type of thing, you know? Like, I think he's at a breakthrough.
Love this. So let's go to speculation station for a second because there's not enough Star Wars speculation anymore because stupid gotcha internet, right?
Yeah.
But I love speculation station. Star Wars is all about speculating. It makes it fun. Okay, let's say, because yes, I'm here for this, right? I'm here for Rada ripping his helmet off, right? It is like a queer person being outed by someone else. The greatest fear in front of all of these people, because again, I'm sorry, everyone, like there is no debate. Din Djarin is gay. Like I've always said this. That is not, it is a fact. That is not a discussion, is not my opinion.
And the evidence is mounting. I will say, as time goes on, the evidence is mounting.
And by the end of this movie, it will be there. But yes, like he was outed now. So, okay, my biggest fear happened.
And the thing that I already thought
that
I
what
fixed,
do I do from here?
Because I thought that I fixed it.
So what do I do from here?
Yeah.
Yep. Like, yes, I'm with you. And I'm just going to add one caveat to he's going to say, you know what? Because there is something to the fact, like, and I love what you said too about Children of the Watch. They do care about those kids, right? Okay, in the real world, shoving a helmet on a kid is wrong. In Star Wars, that does not exist. Yes. Yeah. Do I think the Jedi are evil because of what they do to the things? Yes. But in the world of Star Wars, in the galaxy, the Jedi are the good guys. They are not bad guys. Let's not open this to debate. I love the debate. I've had many a conversation on the Jedi.
Yes.
But in the galaxy, they are the good guys.
Yes.
Like they are good. And they do what they do for kids because it is the right thing for those kids. Right. And I will say, like the Tales of the Jedi, like Ahsoka's grandma talking about why they're letting Ahsoka go is really wonderful. It was a really, really beautiful way.
And also, that's it. I don't mean to cut you off, Bryan, but
right?
like that's important too to caveat is that like nerds, of which we are both nerds. So I'm not. I take some of this too. Nerds have a hard time accepting that the people in the thing will not always agree, not just with the viewer, but also with each other, and also with the premise of the thing. An example I always go to is in Rebels, Obi-Wan expresses that he believes that Luke is the chosen one. That is not the opinion of Star Wars, and that is not the opinion of George, but that is the opinion of Obi-Wan Kenobi based on what,
and that's okay
is.
because you know what, AI doesn't write these things.
No,
people write things,
and
people
they
have contradictions
points of view
because that's what makes us interesting, point, like, and that's what makes us grow.
Think that what they're doing, like Ahsoka's grandma expressed the Togruta point of view on this matter. The Children of the Watch have their point of view on this matter. Bo comes in and says they're a cult. And you know what? Her point of view is very substantiated. But they could, they didn't, and they should have, thrown right back at her, you were a murderous terrorist in the war, and then we gave you a chance. And I think that fans get uncomfortable when the narrative is messy, but a messy narrative is good drama. I like that the Mandalorians are screwy like that, you know?
Good story. And again, I miss this part of George. I miss that George gave 0 Fs if he ticked off the fans. George, I don't know the man. I feel like we all feel like we know the man because we love his stories so much. And so in a way, yes, we do. Like, right? Like George intentionally pissed people off too.
All the time.
Because that is also his generation. Like that is like who he was as a person. I can relate to that again because I'm a child of Star Wars. I am also that because I will intentionally tick you off to make you think, not to change your mind.
Yeah.
And that is the art of conversation that right now I hope things like the crash of Twitter and social media changing, streaming and things coming too big. I am so glad, and I know this, like, I am so glad that Paramount is buying Warner Brothers and all of these things because it's going to be too big and things will crash. And Disney will crash and we'll split up. So I'm excited that we were there for that. It's going to be tough here, but this is just, you know, how we're a capitalist society and this is how it works. And it's actually one of the great things about capitalism. There's plenty of bad things, but like this is, to me, one of the great things because now we will decide you got too big and we will split you up, right? By not giving you our money. And that will happen. I think George
CBS
intentionally ticks people off
at the time we're recording this, you know, like it's like
100%. George will tick people off not to change your mind. I don't think George is interested remotely in people like him. I don't think Star Wars is interested in people necessarily agreeing. I think Star Wars is interested in having a conversation. That's it. And society is better when there is a challenge.
Yes.
And conversations happen. I, as a gay person, especially a gay person who is in there now pushing, I guess I think I'm technically still in my mid 40s, right? But I'm quickly approaching my late 40s, right?
I would agree.
I came up in a really hard time. There are times that were harder than mine. Yes. I came up in the time right after being gay was finally pulled out of the closet and it was discussed. I came up in the time that discussion had happened, and I came up in a time of the reaction to it being forced to be talked about. It was really hard.
Yeah.
It was a completely different landscape. And I don't mean this as in like, I don't mean this in a belittling way at all.
Sure.
But younger people, it is impossible to understand. We can read about all the things, we can watch all the shows, and the internet will pretend like you can read something and educate yourself and now you understand, but you can't. I will never understand what it was like to be a queer person in the 50s or the 60s. Like, I can read about it and I can put myself in there and have my idea of what it was like, but I can never understand. We will never understand what it was like for queer people when I was coming out because it is very different. Not that it was easy now, and then that's not remotely what I mean either, but I have learned in time because I put myself out there on the lines. And it was just like you said about the Jimmy Fallon thing. Protesting on Facebook with your drink at the bar, getting on my way to protesting is not protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is it important? Can you still change things? Sure. But protesting isn't about being seen. It isn't about anyone recognizing. It is about don't have what you have and I'm going to go get it and I'll look really ugly while I'm doing it. Because it's not about anything other than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ugly. It isn't glamorous. It isn't happy. It isn't nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really ugly.
Yeah.
And so change for the good. This is also something I think Star Wars really talks about. And I think the prequels did this so beautifully. I think Anakin's story does this so beautifully. Darth Vader is the ugly part of change. And sometimes I've had moments in my life where I was just a very angry person. Honestly, thank God I'm a teacher now. I don't talk about these things a lot because honestly, it was a wound that was really, really hard.
Yeah.
I got really ugly there for a while because I was told no way too much. And I was an angry, mad person. Thank goodness I pulled myself out of it, mostly because I love Luke Skywalker and Luke Skywalker taught me how to pull myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I had to be there. And change and progress, again, like we said earlier in the thing, he was like a social justice warrior long before that was even a thing, is ugly. And you have to hit rock bottom and you have to have conflict. And I will always stand by as much as I like, and I don't use this word a lot, but I hate Donald Trump and I hate the people that he represents. However, I understand he needs to be here. I hate that he needs to be here. So internet, do with this what you will. Pull my voice out, whatever. But like, I understand why he is here and he needs to be here. I hate that he needs to be here, but I know and I have faith and hope. It's my little rebellion in me, right? I have hope that he is here because we have to hit the ugliest first so that something can change. And I think we are literally there right now.
I hope
and
so.
I think we're starting to see that. I think we're starting to see the beginning of it, right? So I love that Star Wars doesn't shy away from those kinds of things. And again, because it needs to be understood by all kids, like it doesn't present itself right like that necessarily, but it presents itself like welcome back to Big Milk. Bryan cries all the time. Like one of a moment that Star Wars like hit another level for me. I remember this so vividly. Like when I met Michael, he was 4 and he had gone through a lot and he was really angry for a really long time. That kid had every right to be really angry. When we first met him, he maybe spoke 20 words, maybe. And he was really hard to understand. I was his interpreter for probably 2 years because he just didn't learn how to do those things. And he was processing a lot. And he latched on to Anakin Skywalker. And I remember picking him up from school, and I used to work like an hour away back then, right? So I'd pick him up and then we'd come pick up his brother Jack from school. And so we'd have lots of time to talk. And there's one of these moments where little 4-year-old Michael, who again is like a 50-year-old man, and he's wise beyond his years, and he's so articulate, and he's incredible. It was like, I really love Anakin Skywalker because I know sometimes when I get mad, I turn into Darth Vader, and I need to learn how to take my helmet off so that I can be Anakin. And it was just like, and Star Wars helped him figure these things out because that's what he saw. And that is so much of what Anakin's journey is. And that is why, sorry, Star Wars people, they should always be redeemed at the end.
Yeah.
Because the moral is you can make poor choices and you could be okay. This is not the real world.
Yeah.
This is a story that at the end of the day, it needs to have a happy ending. Because we need to have hope. And you can't have hope unless there's really bad things also. And that's what Star Wars teaches you, is life is not always pretty. Life is going to be really hard. You are a human being and you're going to make some really bad choices in life. We all do. Those bad choices are on a scale and they vary.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And that's what makes you a person.
You can't always, I love what Star Wars does too, of like, just to build on the last point, Anakin Skywalker and many people like him in Star Wars, that fall, he will never get to undo the damage and the pain that he's
Mm-mm.
done. But it's not about that. It's about the next thing. And you know, it's Frozen too. It's the next right thing. You know, it's that amazing moment of her. Like that's what I love is that like it's not he doesn't get to bring back the people that he betrayed by
Mm-hmm.
casting down the emperor to help his son, but he does get to make sure that his son gets to stick around. And like that it does, and it's not about does one life equal others. It's what is the last note of your life gonna be? Like Luke will figure out
Yeah.
Luke. Like, and you know, Luke will get to make sure that lives get saved. You know, and like when the bill comes due, the universe will decide for you, and it does decide for Anakin, and he does get to carry on, and we see him now. How crazy it is to know that we have an ongoing Anakin Skywalker storyline right now, which is bananas. That Hayden is in something that comes out this year, which is nuts. But like that character does get to go on, but it's not about undoing. You know, like that's we talked about Rebels already. We've talked about Mandalorian and Grogu already. Din has made a lot of mistakes. Sabine. I mean, my God, Sabine created a weapon that hurt a lot of people when she was a girl,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't know what she was doing, and she
Mm-hmm.
carried that into her,
Mm-hmm.
young womanhood. And it isn't until the third season that she breaks down and she's like, "It's all because of me. Like I hate me."
Mm-hmm.
And and
Mm-hmm.
and it's Kanan and her friends that pick her up and are like, okay, but what's next? Like we still love you. Like there's nothing that this what you're telling us right now is not making us push you away. You're good. You're gonna have to accept this love. Like, and that's what
Yeah,
pushes her on.
I love that you brought Sabine up actually too, because I think another thing that Star Wars does, because Anakin's a kid too. You know,
Yeah.
Anakin was a kid
Mhm.
when all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
Not a kid, but he was a kid. Just because they're kids, like they didn't ever really like say, "It's okay, Sabine, you were a kid, you didn't know any better."
Mhm.
Like kids can still do really bad things.
Yeah. They don't.
And just because you're a
sugarcoat
kid
it.
doesn't necessarily make it an excuse.
Yes.
There's no excuses for what you did, but maybe that's what the balance is. Maybe that's the balance of like you can still be a good person
Yeah.
and live with these bad things that happened. And being a good person now, like you just said, it was beautiful. It doesn't erase the bad things.
Mhm.
They
That
can
doesn't need
two
to.
things can exist at the same time.
Yeah.
And maybe we became really good people because we made those bad choices.
At the end of the day,
What kind of person would we be if we didn't make bad choices?
Andor, despite being the most removed from the magic of it all, intentionally so, has, I think, one of the most magical lines in it that applies to all Star Wars. And it's at the end of season 1 when Cassian goes back to save Bix and, the funeral procession is happening. And he doesn't make it home in time to see his mom. His mom's already dead, and he knows that. He finds that out on the beach. So he knows he's going home and she's gone. And when he sees Brasso relays her parting words that are the private parting words, not the ones from the speech that are going on. And it's tell him that I love him more than anything he could ever do wrong, which is basically like turning the camera to the audience and being like, Star Wars. Like it is exactly that. I wrote down, we're just rambling at this point, but like I also wrote down a show that was I thought really slept on that I love and I've talked about a lot. Also part of the Disney Plus era, which is Skeleton Crew, which was so contained. But what I love about Skeleton Crew in terms of what we're talking about is that not all, but most of the Disney Plus era Star Wars shows, Kenobi, Mando, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Andor too, but like Cassian is supposed to. Andor's a weird case where Diego is clearly a man of his 40s, but he's playing a man in his 20s. So like, I'll put that in its own thing. But the most of these stories are, Star Wars traditionally is about growing up. Luke and Leia are 19, Rey is 19, Anakin is 19 when the Clone Wars starts, Ezra is a teenager, Cal Kestis is a teenager, etc. But these shows came along and said, okay, but what about midlife? And midlife is very different. Din and Ahsoka at this point, and Boba Fett, and Kenobi, these are people that already had lived a lot that are saying, okay, but now what? Do I still have to be what I was? But then you have Skeleton Crew, which is an even more defined specific zone, which is the clash between the two. because the 4
Mhm.
are our youngest Star Wars protagonists in that they are Spielberg kids. Very clearly, that's what they are for the genre.
Mhm.
But then our middle-aged lead in Jod is also, he's facing the same challenges that Din and all these other midlife 40 somethings are having, but he's having an identity crisis. Like Din finds fatherhood, Boba Fett finds community, Ahsoka finds the will to live and a new purpose, Kenobi finds hope for the future. But Jod is
Mm.
this man who we know only ever got to taste the life that he might have had. He got to know the love of a Jedi for a hot minute before that Jedi was killed in front of him. And then he is this 40 something year old man, which I do think is a little bit meta, telling these kids, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. The galaxy is
Mhm.
dark. There's only a few pinpricks of light. You don't get it. I'll kill you. I'll cut down your parents. Blah, blah. And he's doing all these things, and it's all a
Mhm.
lie. And the brilliance for me is that the kids know it's a lie. They don't buy it. They
Mhm.
don't buy that he'll actually
Mhm.
do that to their parents. They don't believe it because they've seen who he really is. They've seen him
Mhm.
laugh. They've had adventures with him. They know that this is a tantrum and that it's a performance.
Yep.
And if you need even more proof of that, the extra icing on it is that this is the only Star Wars character ever that not once do we ever find out what his actual name is. This guy's identity
Mhm.
crisis is so deep that Jod is what
That's
we've
great.
accepted we call him because it's the name he
Yeah.
uses the most, but we don't know that that's his name. He has like 6 or
That's cool. I never
7
thought about that.
names
Yeah.
throughout the show. Jod Nanawood, Captain Silvo, Crimson Jack, Gorium Orlox, like Dash Zentin. There's a few more.
Mm.
And he also goes from helmet on when the show starts with a brown coat. Then he has the outfit that he wears with the kids. But then at the end, it's a combination of both. At his most
Mhm.
erratic, when he's going full on,
Mm.
I don't know what to do. And then you find out that it's just what he says to the pirates is, I'm hungry. This is a poor child who never dealt with anything. And he's
Mhm.
not healing like our other middle-aged characters is. He's freaking out. And my favorite part of the whole arc is right at the end when the kids beat him, when they get in the elevator to leave the tower as everything's exploding. Wim calls out to Jod despite everything that Jod just did to him. And Jod turns and kind of looks at him. And that's Jod's redemption. Like Jod, even if we never got another,
Mm.
even if we never get a follow up on that, and I hope we do, even if we never did, though, Jod is a character his force power is very limited. He's not a Jedi. He's not a dark
Mhm.
sider. He's just a guy who can do it. But he
Mhm.
made some horrible choices at the end. He betrayed the viewer after spending a half a season with him. And after everything, Wim still would have felt safe with him in the elevator too, with him coming home. And I think Jod knows that. And it's the only indicator that you get that his name probably is Jod because he turns and reacts to it. And the way that he looks at Wim is kind of like you get to see him realize this kid would still forgive me. Like he didn't believe my speech about everything is bad. And then I think about Fern, who is the cynical kid who's been this
Mhm.
pissed off. I hate my mom. Like, doesn't say that, but like that's the archetype,
Yeah.
like my mom is
Yeah.
a teacher. Like she sucks. Like she comes
Mhm.
home, and when her mom is the most fearful, she says, "Mom." This is where I get really emotional. I cried when she said this line. She goes, everywhere we went, even in the worst places, there were good people too. And I just, like, cause it was after the election and everything, of course, I was like in a raw place.
Mhm.
And I was just like, we are going to be okay as long as there's always that next punk that doesn't believe the cynical adult that tells them everything sucks. And we need that. Like
Mhm.
Jod is Gen X saying they ruined Star Wars for me. Don't you understand?
Mhm.
And then you
Mhm.
have Fern and Wim that are standing there saying, "We don't believe you, man, and we forgive you." And that is so like
Well, that's great.
It works for me on so many levels, and Jude Law is great, and yeah, love that, and I love that all the shows are kind of like even Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka too. Like we're not talking about them as much, but like that's what Book of Boba Fett is. It's like I am the literal face of my father, and I have no one. And can I build this
Mhm.
wacky community around me that doesn't make any sense? But you know what else doesn't make sense? Being a clone of your father doesn't make sense
Mhm.
either. And he is.
Mhm.
So it's like, I love when they
Yep.
just lean right into the weirdness of it. So,
Yep. Oh my god, I just love everything you said about Skeleton Crew because it's on my list of blows. That's what's so amazing about kids in general.
hmm
And that's where to circle back to the very beginning, like it's not nostalgia. There's a part that we get older, like I think all of us miss that ability to see people for who they are. And no matter what you like, words mean less than feelings do
hmm
when you're a kid.
yes,
The way you make a kid feel is what they're responding to.
yes.
As we get older, your words mean more than how you make me feel. And there's
hmm
a fundamental flaw in that.
hmm
We pay more attention to what you
Well
said
said.
than
Yeah.
what your intention was
Yeah.
and how you're making me feel. You can have someone who is your friend for a long time. You have all these wonderful memories. And you know what? They had a bad day. The wrong election happened and we're in a bad spot. And we say something really awful.
hmm
And that's not excusing that awful thing. But all of a sudden we forgot about all the things you made me feel. And then we don't think about we listen to your words instead of, "Oh my god, how are you feeling right now?"
Yeah, we don't know how to
Because that's
reconcile
not
them.
you.
And I think the
Yeah,
show
we're
the
not.
show handles that, I think, so well because it's like when he turns on the kids, it's really visceral and he's really mean.
Mhm.
And especially to Wim, because
Mhm.
Wim is like kind of the main like hopeful
Mhm.
one. He's like the one that wants to be a hero the most. Like, and he's like, and he even says he goes, especially you, like you're like he's so
Mhm.
mean. And the kids are scared. But what I love is that like he's saying, I'll kill your parents if you get out of line. He's scaring, like putting the lightsaber in their face. But in the same scene, without saying anything, when the little mouse walks by, he gently moves the mouse out of the way with his foot. And he's
Mhm.
betraying his true character in that moment. Like he is
Mhm.
like, like he's threatening
Mhm.
these kids,
Mhm.
but the kids know you saved us on that planet when you could have left us. You came back with the Eopies and you saved
Yep.
us. Like kids do to your point. Obviously, you're a parent and a teacher, so you see this full like
Yeah.
from every angle. Like there's something beautiful about it, and it's very much in Grogu as well, and in all the kids in Clone Wars, and and young Ezra. Like they don't really the performances don't work on them because they're like there's clay that isn't solidified yet, so it's like they don't really
Mhm.
see like they don't see like that's why kids, there's that I don't know the exact wording, but like it's that Carl Sagan quote about like you walk into a classroom full of younger kids and it's a classroom full of scientists, like they ask amazing questions like why are there clouds,
Mhm.
like how do the colors work, but then you go into like a classroom full of 12th graders and there's no curiosity left.
Yep.
And that's why the
100%.
kids in this are like, yeah, well, we're gonna win. Well, why are we gonna win? Because we have to win. Like, because we have to try. Like,
Mhm.
whereas an adult, the kids in Skeleton Crew are more willing to challenge this pirate that could kill their parents than Jyn Erso is willing to challenge the Empire at the beginning of Rogue. Like, it's an adult that'll
Mhm.
keep their head down. It's an adult that's like, this is just the way it is. Like, that's
Yep.
learned. That's really learned. And we've all been there. Like, obviously, we're not gonna get into your personal business on air, but like you and I talked about jobs and stuff off air, and like
Mhm.
to be in a job that you hate, you get to that point where you start to accept it. And that's adulthood.
Mhm.
You accept that you hate it. And you know you do. And the people that you love know you do. And you all accept it
Mhm. And
until,
then
yeah,
reality hits and
yeah.
sometimes, well, we need this
But then you ask a child, and the
and
child's
this
like,
really
why
sucks.
don't you quit?
Mhm.
Why don't you get
We'll be
something new?
fine. Yep. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. I think, yeah, I love that. That was so deep and wonderful. For my number 3, I'm going to be contradictory, as we said. AI did not write this. We are people, so we are contradictory. I think Andor and Rogue One are in my top. Not because, but they're also towards the bottom because while I recognize that both are so good, I don't know if they're what I like about Star Wars. They're incredible shows. They're written beautifully. The characters are wonderful. But I don't know if that's the Star Wars I'm interested in. However, but I'm putting them in the top because every single Star Wars thing needs to look like Rogue One and Andor. Like
Andor,
they
it looks
look
so beautiful. The Andor sets are so
so
beautiful.
good. Like one of my favorite Star Wars things ever is just the way the Star Destroyers look in Rogue One. They still look like a
Like
model, but
coming
they
out of the
look so
shadow.
good.
Oh, it's so nice.
Just
Yeah.
even just sitting there in front of like it's just I love they look so good. They look like Star Wars in a way that nothing else looks like Star Wars.
We are about to
and
prove
I miss that.
we're about to prove that sexuality and gender and interest and masculinity and none of that shit applies to Star Wars because here we are on Pink Milk with the gay host saying, you know what, I love the Star Destroyers. And then you have the straight guest who, in my mind, the very first thing I thought was, you know what, I love Mon Mothma's apartment. Mon Mothma's apartment.
Yes.
The decor of that apartment. And the fact that you went Star Destroyer and I went decor, I was just like,
oh, that's
I love Star Wars.
uh-huh. So good.
Funny.
So good.
And both are true. I mean, yeah, like the sets, and it's so sad that like as promoting Andor season 2, like while it was being promoted, Tony Goa's out there like, yeah, oh yeah, it looks beautiful. It'll never happen again, but it looks beautiful because God, the money they spent and who knows, maybe now that's, if they're like, hey, we can't have a show that looks that way, but we'll have a movie that like whatever, great. But like it is a marvel of the streaming era and it feels almost like
stunning.
Yeah, the Aldani, the eye, the way the Death Star looks in Rogue. I feel you though on like the flavors thing too. And it's almost like I don't know. This would be for you to decide or whatever food you want the listeners to just like. Everybody has a version of this, but like it's like I can acknowledge that steak that a not well done, but a well made steak, not a well done steak. A well-made steak is wonderful and beautiful and awesome and a good meal, but it's like I'm not having that every day. Like that's almost how I feel about Andor. Like Andor to me is like Andor to me, and I say this with love for all Star Wars. There is to me Star Wars that I consider to be Star Wars easy listening, and then there's what I consider to be like Star Wars symphonic classical. Like Solo to me is exactly what it should be. Solo is Bon Jovi. Solo is Journey. Solo is Poison. Like, I could throw on Solo. I cannot throw on Andor, The Last Jedi, Revenge of the Sith. I cannot throw those on casually,
If Solo was designed to be a one movie, it would probably be my favorite Star Wars. And I am not a Han Solo dude, but that Solo to me understands what Star Wars is on a level that a lot of other things didn't. It is, but I also, as the movies go, Return of the Jedi and Attack of the Clones are my favorite of Star Wars, which I know by a lot of Star Wars fans' perspectives, they're sometimes towards the bottom because they're the most campy. They're the most unlike anything else. They're the most like 3 separate adventures in each movie. And it's like the most faster, more intense, bombastic, stupid cornball. Like,
have we ever talked about this? You'll appreciate this point. This is something that I firmly believe, and every time I say it, people I haven't said it to are like, "That's so true." Return of the Jedi, not just because it's pulpy and tonally similar to like, because obviously that's the DNA that I think Favreau and Filoni love the most, play with the most. I'm already excited about whatever they're doing with Starfighter and Ryan Gosling because they've already said it's Jedi inspired over Empire and New Hope. So another win for Bryan and Alden. But the thing about Jedi's first act, everything from the moment it starts to leaving Tatooine, that has often been called, oh, it's like a mini movie right at the front. Like it's just attached to the rest of the movie. And yeah, whatever, that's fine. That's true. But that Jabba's palace sequence is the like Rosetta Stone. It is the dinosaur DNA in the amber. It is the building block of all of Star Wars TV. That Star Wars TV, like that Jabba's palace sequence,
they haven't done it right yet.
Is, I mean, it's still the best.
Yes.
It's still the best. But yeah, but like everything from Clone Wars to Rebels to Mandalorian to Skeleton Crew to Resistance to Visions, all of them, I think, spawn out of the Jabba's palace sequence, because that is a Star Wars story in 30 minutes. That is, boom, 100%. We're here, boom, here's all the players, boom, here's a monster, boom, here's a villain, boom, it's over, and we saved the day. That's a movie.
And you know what else is so incredibly important to that movie that Star Wars Disney has completely 100% lost? And it is like to me, monumental failure. Not a flaw, a failure.
The Chanel boots? Because there's not enough of those.
No, those are great.
There's not enough of them anymore. Yeah.
No, like the fact that, and it's one of the things that I'm like, I find to be incredibly cringe. And you mentioned the Martin Scorsese thing. Yes, great. But also, like, there's way too much basic being spoken.
Yes.
Jabba's palace, the only people, there is a droid and humans. No one else speaks English.
Yes.
C-3PO was a fundamental character because
he's a translator.
He could translate for people.
Yeah.
Like, it makes, to me, too much. It's ruining the galaxy and all these people coming together with everyone. Like, I'm sorry, I hate that Rey can understand BB-8. I hate it. And this isn't like she can do everything. Like, I don't care about that part. Like, you know what she would probably actually have, because of the fact that she is a scavenger and clearly goes and does all these things? She would either have a droid herself that could interpret different languages, because she's going to be, searching for all these different things. Like, I'm cool with her understanding whatever language the alien was speaking, because in my mind, let's just say it's speaking Jacuese. Yeah, like that's fine. She lives there. I'm good with that. But like, everyone just speaks English and everyone understands everybody.
And to your point, on the flip, that's why it's a cool moment when Finn is like, you can understand that thing, and Han's like, yeah, and it can understand you too. Like, I like that. I like that, because that is people that are clearly from different walks of life in different places. Like, that's and I think, to your point, I think it's a very modern, and it's not even a Lucasfilm thing. I think it's an industry problem. I think, and I want to be very clear. This is not like just for anyone listening, this is not an insider information. This is not a scoop. This is not true. It's just a theory. But I think, because we know for a fact that Netflix tells its creatives, hey, it'd be great if you can get an action scene early. Hey, it would be great if you could have them repeat a couple things a few times. Like, because we know that's happening, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody on the producerial end is like, could we have audiences read a few less subtitles? Could we? And I don't like that, because I think that like, part of the beauty of the OT, and part of the beauty, I would also say, of like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, is that when the characters do switch into speaking a different language, like you're saying, it makes the world feel fuller. It's like, yeah, you could have a great story either way. It's not a story issue, but it's like, it's a richness issue. Like, it's like we're gonna have Rada, and I'm super excited for Rada, but we already know that it's a basic Huttese hybrid, and it's like, okay, it's like, all right, well,
no,
it would have been cooler if it was not a hybrid. It would have been cooler if it was all Huttese. Like, it's just, we just know that it would have been cooler. And if you think like, oh, but audiences won't, really, because it's 2026 and people are still going, ooh, Jabba, Jabba. Like, people are still 100%. Doing Jabba shit all the time.
Because if it's written well, you don't even have to read it.
Yeah.
To have a good idea of what they're saying.
A child can watch
You
Jedi.
Might not have.
Yes. A child watches Jedi and understands, even if they don't understand like the money or like anything like that, they'll know like he's giving them to the monster. Like, they get that. He's he has them and they're going to monster. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed it the most in Solo, because I genuinely love Solo.
Me too. I love it.
Love it. But Lady Proxima was so amazing looking. Like, I love that character. Everything about it. I'm like, oh my God, there's this weird worm thing that is like albino because it can't see the light for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And she's coming out of this water puddle. Like, it's just so weird. And then you sound like a librarian. And it really, like, no. For me, I was like, oh, just speak whatever language and then have Han understand you. Again, that would be fine. He's lived there for a long time. It would make sense that he would understand. And then, what's his name? Not Maduk or Modular or whatever. They're speaking other languages.
Yeah.
Malik. Yeah. They're speaking other, like, God, I hated it. Hate it.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
with you.